are on simulcasting this on Zoom. And we have some participants on Zoom this morning. See you there. And we're being recorded on Zoom now, thankfully. Good deal. All right. First order of business is discussion action or going out for bid on on-site fuel for Hill County Commissioner Precinct 1. Now, we usually bid back in March, February for fuel, and we did not take an on-site fuel bid for Precinct 1, which is Commissioner Montgomery. The reason that this is coming up is that where he's using his off-site fuel, which is a local business, he's catching water in the fuel. It's done about $11,000 worth of damage to one vehicle and several thousands to others. It can't be continued. We have to do something different. So the only way I can see that we're going to legally get out of this mess is go out for bids for on-site fuel. Since we did not accept any bids for on-site fuel previously, we still have the ability to do that. It's a matter now of he's going to have to go out and solicit bids for people to put tanks on the yard, to service those tanks, to fill those tanks, and the whole 9 yards. So what he asked me to do is put this on the agenda, even though he wasn't going to be here. So that is our first order of business today.
I make a motion.
This is just for precinct 1.
Just for Precinct 1, yes. Just there was a motion and a second to go out for bids for on-site fuel for Hill County Commissioner Precinct number 1, and only Precinct 1. So, all right. Any further discussion on the issue? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 2, discuss and approve payable invoices for June 1st, 2021. I have before me the payable invoices. I don't know if y'all got the email or not, but what we have here is nothing that looks too far out. I see that we've paid for some of the body worn cameras, which is good. That's part of that Axon grant.
Just like the menu, always read from the left to the right. From the right to
I'm
the
glad I'm
right.
not the only person that does that. Exactly. I'm looking for things that are way out there. So we have some repairs.
I believe this truck is one of them.
That's what I'm looking for, to see if it's in there. Connors Construction, that's road base. We bought plenty of road base.
They should guarantee it doesn't wash away.
Yeah, you need to get some glue. Gorilla Glue and road base, that might work out a little better. That's that 4x5 material we've been buying. 214-7104. Okay. Appointed attorneys, miscellaneous, JPO. Okay, sex offender register, got it. It's available budget. Grant expenditures keep going up, but that's because we keep getting grants. Want to look at any of that or not? Since I haven't seen it before today, I thought I might as well look at it before I ask anybody to vote on it.
Seems like I saw it. This truck in there.
Don't see anything too out of the ordinary. A lot of the monthly bills, most of our, rock and large bills we have for the last couple of weeks, last week, I should say. Repairs to, solenoids, things along those lines. Or tires ain't getting cheap, are they? Attorneys, appointed attorneys, still fairly low. Not a whole lot to move in. Okay, I can recommend approval of that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Forgive me for taking a moment, but I'm not going to vote on something I haven't seen before. And I wasn't here Friday because my daughter graduated, so I needed to look them over. All right. We have a motion and a second to pay the bills for June 1st, 2021. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. Moving right along to our payroll and wage changes. We have payroll and wage changes? I don't see any of them myself. Just want to check, make sure I hadn't missed anything. All right. So we're going to move along to number 4, to Texas, Insurance of Texas business contract. We have gone out for RFP, but Insurance of Texas, in order to get us numbers, because they will be bidding on this as well, needs this business associate contract. It's like the one we've signed in previous years. We have gone through it. At this point, I don't see any problem recommending it to you.
Why are we having to approve that so early?
What's-
Our current contract didn't go out to the end of September, right?
Yeah.
So why are we having to do a new contract this early?
This is actually about the privacy portion of it.
The contract we signed starting in October last year doesn't have the privacy.
It does, but this allows them to go out to bids. They have to have this so that they can go out and get bids for us. And it's,
Well, how did they do business?
I don't know if you had a chance to read the brief. Yes, to you. In summary, both of us are obligated, they are and we are obligated to share employee information that's private. And this agreement states that our employees information will be kept private by looking on the insurance. Private information is used to the medical quotes, provide an accurate premium forecast and carry on daily basis. This is just our annual contract, so that they can go out and get bids for us. This is mid-year, them going out and getting bids.
But since the contract is still in effect, why do we have to sign it now? It just strikes me as odd, signing the contract 5 months before.
This is the portion of it. This,
Only 4 minutes.
I don't know why I said it, one, I really don't, but,
It just struck me as odd.
Well, there's no definitions in here or any terminology that would extend the term of our current contract. It talks about, it starts off business association, what it is, who the parties are. And basically it's has been retained as broker to perform or function or active on behalf of the covered entity requires business associate to have access to protected healthcare information. It's PHI. And so it talks about the HIPAA privacy and security rules, and it goes into definitions, which is really, doesn't even need to be there. Use and disclosure of is protected health information, and it's basically the covered entity, which would be Hill County Grants Business Associate, which is the Insurers of Texas, permission to use, disclose, and request of third parties PHI on behalf of covered entity. Basically, they want something of, this is a big CYA. This contract has had a cover sheet that says CYA on it.
Okay, I just thought it was, I figured they, since the current contract is still going and they had, I figured we gave them the same.
We did, we gave them the
last
same,
2 years, so.
we did, we've done the same thing the last 2 years.
Could I add something to that?
Go ahead, David.
I think this allows us to shop market for perhaps better rates. Because we have to be able to share what our claims are like before we can get a quote. So this is for the purpose of shopping.
For the purpose of shopping.
Okay.
So,
Are we going to get anybody else to shop too?
yes, sir, working on that now.
Okay, I just thought that, since we always try to hope for 2 bids, I thought.
I've got some phone calls in and got some people we're requesting information from us now. So from the RFP we put out last Tuesday. So,
Oh, okay.
all right, well, thoughts on this one, guys? Okay.
Thank
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. Number 5, discussion and approve a credit application for Cleveland Ford. We have before us a credit application for Cleveland Ford. We're doing some truck repair up there apparently. And the best way to get this done, I'm being told, is to get
For the application.
through the application. Okay. Is there a second? Motion and a second, approve a credit application for Cleveland Ford. This is precinct 1 that's using them up there. Anyway, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 6 is discussion and approve application for American Rescue Plan funds. We're asking for the ability to approve, asking for you guys to approve for us to apply for the American Rescue Funds. That's the $7.1 million that's been allocated to Hill County by the federal government, the American Rescue Plan. To put these, go forward with this is going to require a good bit of work on my part and on Susan's part. We've been having conversations. And one of the things we have to do is get the court's official approval to allow us to apply for this. Motion and a second for application, the American Rescue Plan funds. Is there any question? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion is going to carry unanimously. Number 7, and this is discussion approve an application for DR 4586, which is a February disaster, what I call snowpocalypse, the 10-day period where everything froze, gave us the current mess we've got. This is going to allow us to help some local entities and maybe ourselves. So we've been going around looking at what damage we have that qualifies for this disaster is the best way to put that. Last week, there was a meeting between myself, Tom Hemrick, Susan Swilling, and Danielle Scott from FEMA. We know that some of the stuff, we just don't have a lot, or we didn't think we had a lot at that time. But there's a $137,000 threshold limit for Hill County. There has to be $137,000 worth of damage for the public assistance. Well, it doesn't have just to be for Hill County, it can be any entity in Hill County. We know the city of Hillsborough has sizable damage to their water infrastructure. We know there'll be other folks that do. So we've reached out to those folks, helped FEMA reach out to those folks. And during that conversation, it appears we may be eligible to ask for grants for A, to cover our out-of-pocket for our deductible, and B, for any temporary measures that we took to mitigate the effects, which could include some of the things we had to do down at the Franklin Street to get it ready, even though we're in the process of trying to sell that building, but to get it ready to take people in down there. So because the application deadline is coming up pretty quick, we want to go ahead and get our application in. And at the same time, we're looking to see if we can't identify damages that would apply to that. So, okay. Motion and a second to approve application for DR 4586 February disaster. Any further questions on that? None? All right, I asked the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The second one? We'll already know we've got the American Rescue Plan funds. It's going to be a bunch of paperwork. I think I'm going to have to give my social security number to them and stuff that is just crazy, but they got to have individuals. So to apply for it, we will probably have this by the middle of the month on the American Rescue Plan funds. I will tell you this though, I'm going to be hesitant to spend any of that stuff right away. One of the reasons we had you guys open those bank accounts last Tuesday was to put these funds in there. I want to kind of see what other people are doing, and we've got some ideas we're fleshing out. We've been reading the final Treasury notes that came out in May on this program from the United States Treasury as to what the allowable uses are, what they aren't. We are hearing from different people. I've got a meeting at the end of this week in Austin that we're going to talk to some associations of regional councils about ideas and what they're doing. I don't want to see us create anything that's going to cause a lasting encumbrance on our budget. All I want to do is one-time capital expenditures. I don't really want to get in the business of picking winners and losers in economic development grants. I know that's allowable, but I don't know that it's the best idea that we can do. So we're looking at how we can partner with other local entities. If we can't figure out a way to get it all done ourselves, we will partner with other local entities. I had a conversation with the treasurer in Williamson County over the weekend, and they're partnering with some local governments to do some wastewater and infrastructure. One of the infrastructure things that's allowed is wastewater and water pipes. Well, obviously the county doesn't maintain anything like that, so we don't have anything eligible. I do believe though that we have a good argument for the Ag Extension building. After reviewing that treasury note again, is that we are separating people, increasing the ventilation, and those are the folks that did a lot of the teaching for us, and you got words out in the last pandemic. That's what their mission is with Ag Extension, is to teach the public. So I think that we may have a pretty good argument about using some of those funds to help with the cost of that building and offset that. It's just, it's not going to be 7.1 million. So we're going to have to, be creative in our thought process, but also, very strictly adhere to federal rules, simply because it's an easy way for us to get in a pickle real quick if we don't pay attention to what we're doing. So, but we're going to be slow and deliberate. We're going to get the money where it needs to go. It's just want to make sure that our arguments stand up and we get some pre-approval from folks before we do anything. Okay.
Timeline on extending
No, 4 years. 4 years.
it. Is that from the second, they're gonna give us the other half next year, right?
Correct. It's overall, any project completion has to be within 4 years. So that's the current rules. I say that because, as we have found with other grant programs, those rules are prone to change when the powers that be that made the rules see towards the end that, wait a minute, the rules don't work like we thought they would. You all remember the CARES Act grant. It was very limited. We couldn't make use of it. And then 2 months before it was timelined out, the state said, oh, you know what, we changed the rules. Here you go. And then we could make use of it. I want to see what other entities are doing. We don't have to be the first person to jump out there. We fared COVID fairly well. Quite frankly, I think you guys did a great job. The elected officials did a good job of preserving the budget for what little revenue shortfall we saw. We're going to be okay. I want to make sure that we're on very, very good footing before we spend $1 of this. The last thing I ever want to do is have some bureaucrat come back at a later date and go, well, we didn't think that. That's not what we thought. You got to pay us back for it. So I don't want to see us in that position. So anyway, that's what I got. Gentlemen, anything further today?
Make a motion, adjourn.
Well, thank you very much. I know you guys were up really late last night pulling trees off. I know Crumpet told me you got to bed at 5 this morning, so get some rest.
I do.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And do you need to sign this somewhere?
I thought she signed. That's
Well,
the
she
executive
did.
resolution. What about with that? Okay.
She usually is like that. I don't want that signature.